Hello everyone. In last part we have seen about introduction to malaria, history, incidence and prevalence, epidemiology and different structure and stages of malarial parasite. So in this part mainly we will see about especially causes of malaria in detail and pathophysiology of malaria. So myself Dr. Anandas, Assistant Professor, Department of Roganisthana and Abhivruddhi Vigyan, Global Institute of Ayurveda, Rajkot. Causes of malaria. So whenever we discuss about causes of malaria, first of all, life cycle of malarial parasite has an important role. And along with the life cycle of the malarial parasite, the other two factors like recurrent malaria and climate change also. So these 3 points we will discuss in detail under causes of malaria. Life cycle of malarial parasite and after that recurrent malaria and last about climate change. The first point, life of the malarial larvae. So here we have to determine with the definite host and intermediate host. As we all know, the spreading of the malaria is done by especially the female Anopheles mosquito. So the sexual cycle of the malarial parasite will be happening in the body of the female Anopheles mosquito. That's why female Anopheles mosquito is the definite host. The sexual cycle will be happening within the body of the female Anopheles mosquito, where in other part the human beings will be the intermediate host. Why? Because in human beings only the asexual cycle will be completing. So the sexual cycle will be completing in female Anopheles mosquito and asexual cycle will be happening in human beings. So the female Anopheles mosquito is definite host and the human beings are intermediate host in life cycle of the malaria. These three stages are the main stages of malaria larvae, especially mosquito stage, liver stage, and blood stage. These three stages will be including under the complete life cycle of the malarial parasite. So, life cycle of the malarial parasite will start from an infected female Anopheles mosquito. An infected female Anopheles mosquito means it's already infected with the malarial infection. That means it's already bite over a patient who is already having the malarial infection, or it feeds the blood of a malaria infected person. So an infected Anopheles mosquito, it has n number of sporozoids within his salivary or within the salivary glands. It will be already present. So within the mosquito or infected Anopheles mosquito, it will take around 7 to 20 days of time for the complete life cycle. So the further development of the malarial parasite within the body of the infected female Anopheles mosquito will take minimum 7 to 20 days. So first of all, if an infected female Anopheles mosquito, if it bite over a person of another, the first initial host, it's a human being, the sporozoids which is present over the salivary glands within the infected female Anopheles mosquito will transfer to the bloodstream of the patient or the person. So the condition of the sporozoids will be already accumulated in the salivary glands of the infected Anopheles mosquito, and after that what will be happening? The sporozoid cells will be disappear from the human blood within half an hour. It will reach over the liver area. The sporozoids which is already injected from the infected Anopheles mosquito from salivary which is come from infected female Anopheles mosquito will be infect the liver, and from the liver it will affect again the hepatocyte cells of the liver, especially the hepatocyte cells will be affecting again within the liver. The further infection will be happening within the liver only. In the liver it will affecting the red blood cells and the hepatocytes also. It will go to another shape of size of the cells called schizon. Production of one cell structure will be forming, that is schizon. The schizon will be getting mature in nature and it will be producing further production of the merozoites into the blood. The schizons will rupture after some time, and this ruptured schizon, what they will do? They will eliminate, they will expel merozoites. The second stage of the cells called merozoites will be released into the bloodstream, and from this merozoites stage it will go to the next stage called trophozoites. From trophozoites it will attain next stage called gametes. So gametes is it will be male and female gametocytes, especially male and female. So within the male and female, here the second vector will be the again and another Anopheles mosquito which is non-infected, and a non-infected Anopheles mosquito again will bite over the person. So within the bloodstream of the person already male and female gametocytes will be there. So these blood will be sucked out by a non-infected Anopheles mosquito. So within the body stream of the non-Anopheles mosquito, what will be happening next? The first microgametocyte will be forming. From there by the second and the third, fourth stages will be happening like zygote formation, from their okinate formation, and from their oocyst formation, and thereby increase in the size of the oocyst. And whenever there is an increase in size of the oocyst, what it will cause? It will end up in rupture of the oocyst. Soon after the rupture of the oocyst, what will be happening? So many sporozoites will be released, and these sporozoites will be getting settled over midgut of the Anopheles mosquito first of all, and from there it will transfer to salivary glands. So the Anopheles mosquito again it will be getting infected, and if the infected Anopheles mosquito if it bite over the human beings, what will be happening? From the saliva or from salivary gland, the sporozoites will be again transferred to the bloodstream of the human beings. Again, the person will be getting infected. Here the cycle will be, so first vector will be an infected Anopheles mosquito only. That infected Anopheles mosquito, if it is bites over an initial human host, who is non-infected one, first of all, it will affect the liver of that initial human host, especially liver function will be hampering, thereby any kind of cells formation will be happening within the liver phase, thereby it is going to the blood infection, and through the blood infection the parasite will be attaining different size, and thereby it will be end up with the gametocytes formation like female and male gametocytes, and that gametocytes are sucked up with another non-infected Anopheles mosquito. It will again become an infected one, and that will become a second vector. The second vector again, if it is affect the human beings, the cycle will be once again continuing. The liver cells will be getting affected first of all, then by, and thereby the infection will be continuing like the previous process. And if it affect with a woman who is already pregnant in nature, it will affect the fetus also. It will cause in utero transmission also in pregnancy type. Recurrent malaria. Symptoms of malaria can recur after varying symptoms free periods. Depends upon the cause. Recurrence can be classified as either recrudescence, relapse, or reinfection. Recrudescence is when symptoms return after symptom-free period. It is caused by parasites surviving in the blood as a result of inadequate or ineffective treatment. So, under the recurrent malaria condition, it can reoccur. It can happen after sometimes. So within the recurrent malaria condition, it can be classified as again three conditions like recrudescence, relapse, or reinfection. So the recrudescence condition especially, it is mean by the symptoms will be returned after symptom free period. The symptoms will be subside for a time. Within that time or after that time it will be reappear. It is caused by parasites surviving in the blood as a result of inadequate or ineffective treatment. So any kind of ineffective treatment or lack of proper treatment, the parasites causing infection of the malaria will be surviving or will be existing in the blood of the host or in the blood of the patient, and after a symptom free period, after completion of symptom free period, it will reappearing. It is causing again the infection. Relapse is when symptoms reappear after the parasites have been eliminated from blood but persist as dormant hypnozoids in liver cells. We have seen already in the life cycle of the malaria parasite hypnozoid condition. So especially the relapse condition, it will be happening, especially the symptoms reappear after the parasites have been eliminated from blood. The parasites already had been eliminated from the blood, but it will persist as dormant hypnozoites in liver cells, but it will be existing in the liver cells as in the form of hypnozoites especially. Relapse commonly occurs between 8 to 24 weeks and is often seen in Plasmodium vivax and Plasmodium ovale infections. Mostly it will be seen in two conditions, or it will be seen in two conditions occurring by infection of these two species, especially Plasmodium vivax and Plasmodium ovale. Reinfection means the parasite that caused the past infection was eliminated from the body, but a new parasite was introduced. The earlier parasite, which was caused for the manifestation or the caused for the infection of the malaria, already will be eliminated from the body. But in case of reinfection, it will be introduced by a new parasite. A new parasite will be inverted into the body of the person and thereby causing further infection. Reinfection cannot readily be distinguished from recrudescence, although recurrence of infection within 2 weeks of treatment for the initial infection is typically attributed to treatment failure. So, in certain cases, it will not be easy to distinguish between recrudescence period and reinfection period. Climate change as a cause of infection of malaria. Global climate change is likely to affect malaria transmission, but the degree of effect and the areas affected is uncertain. Greater rainfall in certain areas of India and following an El Nino event is associated with increased mosquito numbers. So, especially the transmission of malaria, it will be affected by the global climate change. But the degree of or the severity of the effect of the malaria infection will be uncertain in some condition or in some area. And with respect to the some tropical rainforest areas or tropical areas which will be having greater rainfall, or where it will be most affected with heavy rainfall, in those conditions along with the El Nino event, it will be associated with the increased mosquito numbers. So the factor including global climate change along with the greater rainfall also having certain significant roles over the infection of the malaria. Now we will see pathophysiology of malaria. It can be explained under two phases, particularly exoerythrocytic phase and erythrocytic phase. So exoerythrocytic phase will happen in liver and erythrocytic phase will happen in red blood cells or erythrocyte. So especially in exoerythrocytic phase, involvement of liver will be there, and erythrocytic phase, involvement of red blood cells will be there, or nothing but erythrocytes will be involving in case of erythrocytic phase. So the total manifestation or total infection of the malaria will be explained under these two phases. So an infected Anopheles mosquito bite over the person, it will inject the sporozoites into the bloodstream of the person. Within the saliva of the infected Anopheles mosquito, presence of sporozoites will be there. These sporozoites, what they will do, they will come to the bloodstream of the person especially, and it will affect the liver first of all. And thereby it is causing further maturation of the cells called merozoites, thereby causing beginning of the exoerythrocytic phase. Before the exoerythrocytic phase or within the exoerythrocytic phase, what will be happening? The cells will be getting matured in the liver cells, especially merozoites. After the formation of the schizon, from the schizon will be ruptured and the merozoites will be released into the bloodstream. In some cases, one more cell condition called hypnozoite will be forming. Hypnozoite nothing but it can be long lasting within the liver cells for a long time. So recurrent infection or reinfection also can be occurred in cases of malaria because of the cell condition, the nature of the cell called hypnozoites. Instead of the state of cell called merozoite, it will be sustained in the liver cells as one more cell condition called hypnozoites. So this much regarding the beginning of exoerythrocyte. So if you consider the beginning of erythrocytic phase, the liver will be getting infected, or the liver cells along with the hepatocytes also will be getting infected, and red blood cells also will be getting infected, and from there the Schizone's state of the cell will be, or the malarial stage will be starting, and after that the Schizone state will be getting ruptured, and from the Schizone state n number of merozoites will be getting released into bloodstream. That's why it is affecting the blood circulation of the body of the patient, thereby starting erythrocytic phase. So these are two states: exoerythrocytic phase and erythrocytic phase. So here is the last point regarding causes of malaria. That's the genetic resistance. How much the genetic resistance will influence over the manifestation of the malaria, or infection of the malaria. Several genetic factors provide some resistance to it, including sickle cell trait, thalassemia traits, glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency, and the absence of Duffy antigens on red blood cells. So along with the infection, it can affect over the other system also, and thereby manifestation of the other system related disorders. So it will affect the antigen antibody reactions, and thereby it will make the easy way to infect the condition throughout the body or to the person. So here we will finish the second part of malaria. So in next part, we will see in detail about signs and symptoms of malaria, and different clinical features of different Plasmodium species of malaria, and along with that, diagnosis of malaria. Thank you.